Hello, I am Royal here, who likes royalty and roses. So it's been a streak of good news lately out there, hasn't it? There's a highly anticipated Season 2 of the Fallout show, it's nearing New Vegas' 15th birthday, and I learned an intriguing fact the other day when I was browsing around the voice cast of New Vegas. I just happened to learn that many of the female voiced NPCs of New Vegas share a very common association with another video game series. Listen to this example.
Yeah? That's a question I've been asked a lot lately, since it's something I have to decide for myself soon.
Recognize that? That's right, that's Cindy Robinson playing one of the many voices in New Vegas. Particularly in this voice role, though, as Apprentice Watkins, she sounds a lot like her role as the current voice actress of modern Amy Rose, which ironically, she would start playing as on the exact year New Vegas was released. So it hit me. In addition to there being a racing game that's being somehow capable of crossing the world by storm more than a certain plumber's attempt lately this year, and the fact that New Vegas is kind of the fourth major Fallout game, and the fourth Sonic film upcoming will center on Amy as the new introduced character, I figured I asked the question of, can you beat Fallout New Vegas as Amy Rose? The main reason that got me to do this playthrough is that I haven't seen gameplay of a hammer-based run in New Vegas, and thought the pink lovable Pico hammer wielder would be a fitting candidate to fill in the shoes of such a run. So how does this work? Is it a hammer-only run? Mostly. Not quite all of it, but mostly. The run will have me only use unarmed attacks and a very select few melee weapons for Amy, mainly the Super Sledge and its variant Oh Baby. And I also gave an exception to use one additional weapon that I'll discuss sooner, that is from Old World Blues. I also couldn't think of a good attire for my Amy costume to wear, so after careful consideration and thought, I went and thought the one with the aesthetic in Vera's outfit that sort of resembled a rose seemed a bit fitting, and figured I wouldn't truly commit to the character run until I get that item from... Moving on to the character creator engine, as outdated as it is for a 15-year-old game, since like half of the female NPCs in New Vegas, or something like that, has voice lines done by the modern Amy voice actress, whether it be specific characters or specific grunts or lines, I decided that I wouldn't use any mods in this run of New Vegas, and just went for the best attempt at her design with the rather outdated stock character engine. Look, I don't use mods. What can I say? Also, keep in mind that for this run, I'm being open to use any Amy Rose from whichever game, show, or film that she's in. Starting special stats were as followed: 7 for Amy's greater than average strength, 1 for her lack of perceiving a particular blue blur's disinterest in her affection at many times, at least in the classic days, 9 for her enduring personality and persistence, and to get her all the implants, 8 for her boastful and charming charisma, 7 for her book-smart intelligence, 7 in agility for her athleticism, which will be increased by 8 from the small frame trait, and 1 in luck for getting captured or in peril, or hardly getting any of the blue blur's attention in nearly every other game. And yes, I know she's a badass, but what can I say? I'm doing a melee build in New Vegas. It's not like you need much luck to make such a build work. Speaking of which, as for Tag Stilled, I gave her melee weapons, no duh, speech, and survival just for how resourceful she can be, and how there is a literal jungle variant of her in Sonic Prime. Now with that introduction all out of the way, let's begin. I have planned that since the Super Sledge is such a heavy late-gamey weapon that the only way to take it without going through the hell that is that cave past Jacobstown is to go inside the one place that actually has a stock Super Sledge at the start of the game, the bunker. So after traversing through a couple powder ganger camps, jumping through the high grounds of a Scorpion Gulch where a most odd stranger tagged along the Scorpion's grounds, as he came right below me and was stuck in the mosh pit of tail swipes, After wondering if he would live but not caring enough to lose her life over it, Amy would continue running through a giant solar farm as well as a mysterious stranger with a hip hat and guitar. Keep in mind, I'm not fighting anyone early in this game, as I don't have the hammer and unarmed skill to make any use, so Amy will be mostly running away from danger this whole time until I'm finished. Finally, I get to the 188 and begin befriending a long-lasting team of companions that Amy will assemble by the end of the game, starting with Veronica. After a heartfelt discussion, she accompanies me to the bunker that are actually filled with a bunch of armored knights that are not led by a round table, but by a brotherhood of steel. After speedrunning a digital virus and speaking to their elder, promising to work with them later on, I do what I set out to do first thing first in this bunker.
Yay!
Now we can begin. But what would Amy wear? I mean, there's not a lot of good clothing I can think of. I mean, I talked about Vera's outfit, which has that rose-like bow tie, and that rose-like bow tie from Vera's outfit is in... Oh no.
It's letting go.
So, I went to the abandoned Brotherhood bunker. That is in not Hidden Valley, but instead the worst freaking DLC of the game. Dead money, and I am doing this at level 1, all because of an attire. All because of an attire. It's at this point that I would come to realize Amy's gonna go through a hell of red mix and ESC level purgatory, which is basically the closest thing to playing a Fallout game with the essence of an EXE game. And no, I haven't played an actual EXE game. It just makes me realize there's a pretty interesting coincidence of similarities here. Even though I would face harder challenges later on in the run, getting through dead money at level 1 while virtually being disarmed made the run feel like a horror thriller for survival. And this was the most painful part of the entire run. And you can almost say my mind got a bit nuts trying to go through several different moments of pain and death. I wasn't alone in this layer of several experimentations and executions gone wrong, though, as having to deal with an elder more cracked than an egghead had me required to save a poor dog, a jerkish domino, and the tragic case of Christy, of whom I imagine Amy would have wanted to help out most of the three. Eventually, I got to level 2 and got the Black Riddle perk, as well as dumping most of my stats into speech to achieve the best ending in Dead Money, instead of actual combat experience. You can tell I knew this was going to be painful. I also got the Educated perk at level 4, started to give points to melee weapons by level 5, and by level 6 I gained the Toughness perks because wearing a dress for most of the run is going to make Amy very vulnerable otherwise, as you can imagine.
I mean, what? It's not like she's worn body armor before.
I didn't face any pitfalls as I would ally and save every companion as I would be transversing through the red mist and trying to avoid bear traps, get through some difficult platforming, and I hate this! The bleeding radios and constant beeping of the collars that turn your hand into a destroyed watermelon was the worst part of this whole frickin' run. You know the infamous countdown when Sonic drowns in many of his games? Yeah, imagine that, but it's a timer that's gonna boom your head. This is worse than drowning. This is worse than that. Not to mention, I'm very limited from what I can do because I restrained Amy from using a lot of ranged weapons like the police pistol and the hollow rifle, making half of the preventable radio signals virtually impossible to crack. I did use the throwing spears for some of the ones you can destroy, and briefly in combat, given they remind me of Jungle Rose from Prime. But there are only so many of these laying around, and I collected most of these from my companions doing all the big heavy lifting against the ghost people wielding them. Not to mention all the ghost people piling up on you at many points in this run, and extremely limited healing supplies that you get from using chips in the vendors, resulting in these damned mass fleets killing or blowing me up again and again and again and again and again. I just had to keep running and running and hiding and running some more. If that's what a DXC game that has this level of tension feels like, in addition to the state of helplessness, please tell me if that's the case, cause gosh, I can't imagine playing a game like that after the kind of terror I went through Dead Money. Finally, after being led into the casino, saving all companions, getting Vera's outfit for the damn rose-like aesthetic, and entering into the vault and multiple times, I get to the gold-filled vault, and like the charming, hopeful girl she is, Amy took all the gold. But would that be a Rouge thing to do? Whatever the case, I knew a tactic to get out of the vault with all the gold after talking down to Elijah. Roll the clip.
What's this?
That was the most satisfying part of the entire
You.
Finally out of the Dead Money hell and leveling up to level 8. Gosh, I went through that DLC as level 1. Just thinking about it makes my head ache. I give Amy the best perk she can have in the entire run. The Super Slam perk. The ability to smash your enemies into the ground until they are... Until they are... I'm sorry. I think I got crazy thinking about how mashed up that is meant with that whole mashing up your enemies to oblivion mentality. Amy's not crazy, right? Not much happened after I began storing the gold in the abandoned vault while keeping a couple to use later on. I went through a few marked locations, had some side quests activated to do later on, and began walloping another raider or ant that got in my way. So if I finished one DLC in a state of hell at the beginning of the game, what do I go to do next? Another DLC at a low level. At level 9 for Old World Blues. Thankfully, after talking to the literal brains in jars, hoping this was a hallucination, but in reality it is not, instead of facing a council of pure technocratic chaos, I began to do the Old World Blues quest and get out of this literal brain drain Amy was in, while also realizing Amy's organs had to be stitched and patched out for metallic alternatives, which is the start of her eventual incorporation into becoming one with Rusty Rose. If you're familiar with the Old World Blue quest, there isn't much to say beyond the usual go to lab, do several repeating objectives and such, but to cut it short, I got to level 10 after talking to some of the brains, getting me to the second tier of the toughness perk. I also went to the Find and Dandy houses, began to realize how overpowered nearing a max melee weapon skill is on high endurance and a high strength character, and realized Night Stalkers are going to be a pain to take hits from till I get a future perk, while the Robo-Borks are not friendly poochies. I also began hammering away many robots of all sorts, making me realize that all this walloping and hammering is the closest thing this will be to smashing and breaking robots in many Sonic games. Just be thankful I don't have to worry about accidentally hurting any tiny animals in these robots. I also began to dump levels into Unarmed as I'm leveling up because Amy can fight with her bare hands if she has to be in a boxing ring. You forgot Sonic the Fires was a thing, didn't you? I fought my way through the many rounds of Boris's family-friendly schoolhouse of pain and misogyny, found solace in seeing a bunch of cyberpunks looking at a loving drawing of a lady's best friend. Like, seriously, this is just adorable compared to the infamous Wild Wasteland encounter. And began to utilize wearing some of the unarmed weapons I collected, and the only energy weapon I ever used in the game, the Sonic Emitter. Why the Sonic Emitter?
Because Sonic!
I only use this weapon because it's named after him. What can I say? Amy's a bit of an enthusiast after all. Put it lightly. I hardly used it anyway, mainly for clearing away mines. I found a dog and lobotomite holotape, which I did not make Roxy out of, because again, science is not Amy's personality, and as I unfortunately took down Gabe the Big Poochie and gave myself a freakout seeing my Amy character without hair. I went up to level 12 and got the comprehension perk for how great it is to reinforce her book smarts. I also went to get the stealth suit located in its particular zone and temporarily played a stealthy Amy Rouge in that section. Once I left, I got up to level 14 and got the Stonewall perk, because as you know, someone who can lift a hammer and get progressively stronger from lifting it must be as sturdy as a brick wall. And if you're gonna ask how I knew this, I don't know. I heard that was a thing in a comic, but I never read the comics, so yeah. At least the perk prevents me from most sources of enemy knockback. Mostly. After giving the brains the means to let me travel to the Forbidden Zone, which sounds like a secret Eggman boss fight level, I repaired my hammer with the sink, and holy cow, repairing a giant walloping hammer costs a lot of money. How would she repair them anyway, otherwise? And yeah, I didn't do many of the side quests of Old World Blues, but I didn't find that appealing for an Amy playthrough. I mean, come on, talking lights, toasters, and other odd technical shenanigans? Amy wouldn't want to know or think about imaginary friends like this. She's not Tails' mighty number 9, okay? I then went into a cave and almost died to a legendary bloatfly, but thank goodness with the Super Slam perk activating to take it down before going into the Forbidden Entrance fighting the Dead Egg Scorpio. The giant Robo-Scorpion made by Dr. Mobius would be proving to be quite a challenge for me, until I made it distracted from activated target drones in the air and began hammering the boss's butt like I'm speedrunning a Sonic boss. After reuniting with my brain as I realized Dr. Mobius isn't as nuts as the very council of brains I'd been working for, I got up to level 16 and gave Amy the animal friend. About time too, since that would make her not have to fight some of the wildlife and is part of her nature-loving self. Also, isn't it odd that Dr. Mobius' name is exactly the same name as Sonic's homeworld? Then again, who had ever heard of a Mobius strip? Before I fought the brains, I did many more robot hunting and helped out the Sync Autodoc to get my heart, spine, and brain back together. Why did I do this? Well, it's very useful. And why is it useful? Because getting your spine back alone improves your strength by 2 points, meaning that the starting strength Amy has, being a 7, goes up to a 9. And let's not forget, I don't have the implant to maximize that stat yet.
Colleagues! Think tank! Alert! Alert! We are under attack!
After giving the Council of Chaos a taste of their experiments gone done wrong, I finished Old World Blues, feeling proud I was able to do it at such a low level, and imagining that I avenged Rusty Rose by eliminating her prime overlords. I teleported from the Big MT, where my animal friend perk had me witness a gecko gotta go fast. Also, I had Amy witness a couple of desert wolves. Wonder if she told them about Whisper. And yes, I know that's another comic character. I just know these folks, okay? I haven't actually read the comics. Now, moving on from being distracted once again. Gosh, being a Sonic fan kinda makes me say a lot of stuff here. Where do I go after the next 2 DLCs? DLC number 3, of course, because why the heck not? I decided to head to the Divide, where I decided one of the only means to get high cap amounts this early was the commissaries whenever I sold my gold to them. I died a few times, of course, because remember, Amy only has a dress and a bit of bionic work. After a couple rounds of spending gold and making money in the Divide, Gunrunners, and Sync, raking over 54,000 caps at one point, I went to the New Vegas clinic to fully realize Rusty Rose as I got every single implant for her. Also, do you know the doc in this clinic is played by voice actress Laura Bailey? Why do I mention this? Well, besides being one of the most versatile voice actresses of recent times, she also did many of the voice lines and grunt of a female courier character. How ironic. and also was Blaze in Sonic Generations. What's next? Fester being played by a voice actor that played a knucklehead. Oh, come on! How is it that New Vegas, of all things, has this many relevancies to a completely different franchise like this? What a small world we live in. Moving on, What's this? A place in New Vegas I've never been to. Fascinating. After smooth talking the wannabe Bonnie and Clyde and not getting the special weapon from smooth talking with them, I went to rack a Raider and then... went to make some trail mix, realized I had a DT of 20, and decided it was time to give Amy a hammer worthy of being this game's equivalent of a Pico Pico as one of the strongest melee weapons of New Vegas, period. After a long trek to Jacobstown and a cave where the Night Stalkers did nothing to stop Amy's nature-loving personality, because I guess snake dog hybrid abominations count as not attacking someone that loves nature, I grabbed the best hammer from the game and oh baby, this will come in handy. Back to the Divide, I sluggishly made my way through the initial death zone, but at least it's not dead money. Eventually I got to level 18, which got me to a high enough repair skill to get jury rigging, which is going to make it less full to repair the dress with any light armor, or the hammer with any similar heavy melee weapon. After blowing up the joint a couple times, I faced down the dreaded Tunneler's Underpass after one hit killing a death-crawling mutt. Then I rapidly smashed the little trog-like gremlins before they could attack me and got out of there without dying. Oh yeah, and Ulysses is a guy. A misunderstood tribal person that lost his sense of identity and now wants to vow vengeance against the world. Seems like a familiar face that she would try to also help out. After the shadowy guy warned me about the death clause, I prepared for the worst to face them head on. First got some more tribal beasts and goons to perish. Oh yeah, and the second worst thing to deal with in New Vegas besides dead money? The satchel charges in the Divide. With a 0 in explosive, I would basically instant explode these buggers whenever Amy was close, causing her to break a leg or reenact losing all her rings.
Oh my gosh! That's no way to treat a lady!
After witnessing the funniest moment in the game, I finally get to the death clause, starting by awaiting one in the trailer. Now, you may say this is a bad idea, but remember, the death claw is trapped with Amy frickin' Rose. And let's just say a lot of red bled into my hammer with every death claw did. While resting in several checkpoints throughout the device to recharge the Rosy Rascal over the journey, I faced death claw number 3 with some strategic blocks and got an item that Amy would definitely use in her adventures, a camping bedroom. This is useful as it provides her with a chance to mark any place to heal up after a fight is settled. With another Deathclaw dead, and then a 5th one astonished by the blocking eventual descent into a ragdoll, a few more Tunnelers under a junction, and more Deathclaws dead. Brought me to another level up where I began dumping points into medicine because Amy would do some medicine-based acts later in the game. After a couple more marked men marking me for death and avoiding the dreaded satchels, I bore guilt from witnessing a tragedy, then fought off all the Tunnelers at the elevator, is what I would say, but Amy is gonna bite the mallet and head to the Courier's Mile instead. After realizing the mistake I made fighting through just a few of the enemies there, I leveled up to 20 to make Amy an unstoppable force. After healing up at an auto dock and getting some repairs, you know what I do? I go back to the Mile again, finishing off the marked men and Deathclaws. Probably not without growing a 3rd limb, possibly popping out from all the radiation I've been exposed to. Also, one good thing about going into Divide at a lower level is that if you had went to the Mile and the rest of the DLC at a max level, the enemies would have been a lot harder to take down, so Fighting them with a max melee strat this early actually proved to be more valuable than a loss. So, ha! No need to go high level. After smashing my way through the elevator from all the tunnelers attempting to breach in, I keep making money at the commissary by selling my marked men junk as I progress through the silo. Here Ulysses have a flashback as I made my way through more marked men, progressed whenever there was safety, challenged the tunneler queen, overestimated the queen, then went back to instantly and stun the queen as well as her underlings that don't know their way. This carnage spree got me to level 21. By the time my little robot friend gets hijacked by Ulysses, I storm through the last outside section of the level, fought more death balls with ease than I imagined, even taking down the infamously difficult Roar after a good time Super Slam perk saved Rosie. Past dying a few more times, I reached Ulysses' temple, saved Eddie Gamma, and went to confront the Divide Shadow, Ulysses. Given how Amy would rather prefer to help care and support disgruntled minds like Ulysses like she did for many other characters in her series, particularly in one particular second adventure, I opted the speech approach to convince that what Ulysses is doing to blow up the world is wrong and that we'll end this destruction together. After finishing off the infiltrating marked men in a very climactic fight, and having Eddie Gamma sacrifice his circus to prevent Armageddon, again reminding of a first adventure she had, Lonesome World will be done. Though I kinda wish Vault-Tec was an option to nuke, given how they nuked the city with a literal rose. After saving the world, I maxed Amy's agility with the additional special stat you can gain from completing Lonesome Road as I went up to level 23. So, what do we do next? The last DLC, of course! The very last one. Might as well finish off this senseless DLC heavy introductions into the run with perhaps the most tame one of them all. And thank goodness, cause Amy needs a break from all the red mist robots and fallout of the past. After telling Ricky that you ain't got Rick for this venture, it's time to settle into the Happy Trails Brigade into Honest Hearts. This, alongside Lonesome Road, are among my favorite narratives and DLCs in the whole collection of New Vegas. Not to mention, traveling into the vestiges of Utah and embracing the more naturalistic scenery of its ground is more appealing and calm. With some terrifying enemies, don't get me wrong, but I like to imagine Amy would relax very well around here. Now, let's smack down some white legs who killed more of my potential friends because the wasteland is a harsh reality here. And as I escape the firefight, I see a rare bit of dialogue after crossing the bridge.
Hoi, what you doing? There's still white legs back there.
After having Mr. Chalk around, I decide to heed his word and avenge the fallen comrades I lost. This white leg. What the hell? Why isn't he dying? Invincible! Die! Holy heck, he can't frickin' die! Did the Black Knight switch colors and allegiance or something? He's not fit falling to my hammer swings.
Oh.
Not wanting to die to a literal god, I ran away from the tribal and never saw him again. Somehow, I think Joshua Graham has met his match. Unlike the other DLCs, of whom I wish either played it like an EXE game, or got out of it with a bunch of robotic upgrades, or went through a mile and back, Honest Hearts was the one DLC where I intentionally went through virtually every part of the map, and mostly enjoyed it. I played through it pretty lengthily compared to the other DLCs, even though I was mostly just admiring the views and marking every location. Highlights were plentiful on this adventure, like when I avenged a giant green gecko that got berated after talking to a bear about car insurance. What do you mean that looks nothing like the Geico gecko? It's the post-apocalypse, of course, you know, so it's gonna look a bit different. After breaking my first bear that is not in a boxing ring and not a polar bear, yes, I know a lot of Sonic lore and such, don't question me, I began a long line of scavenging food to be collected from any survival recipes I craft, mainly healing poultices for how much better they are than powders. I smacked a bear, then, Wow, look at the cute big Bork. It's like dog meat from Fallout 3. Look how cute he is, and the coyote pup too. Should I mention how being an animal friend nullifies most wildlife's hostility to you? Unless you're a bloatfly, mantis, ant, scorpion, Venus flytrap, freaking wasp, or bear. And Deathclaw, but we don't talk about the Deathclaws. I spoke to a self-proclaimed man of God, and we were basically chill and did well with the natives. Eventually, I went up to level 24 after saving a baby bighorn or to its mother. Wait, didn't something like this happen in Frontiers? The next perk I got would be the Slayer perk, which means Amy's hammering just got a whole new layer of fighting through the hell of the wasteland. Such hell. And the first creature I had to deal with was a mongrel that was attacking a tribal. It wasn't even hostile to me, but sorry, old yeller. I also began to realize how painful it must be to be hit by a Pico attack. It was so bad that the Mongols ran away from their master to find another white leg to accompany. I then do the usual scavenging items for Joshua and then Daniel without much reason to discuss specifics. I also began to whack bears so hard they start flying through the air. How does it not die from the fall damage? Or how does the bear not high-five another bear, two bears high-fiving? Ha! Meanwhile, you got car insurance, right? I would sneak attack Metal Gear bear style and got another bear down. Why am I enjoying these bear kills so much? I went to the fish market and found that it's covered by the geckos and their car insurance. I heard they do homeowners insurance too. Should go check that out. After seeing Amy's on fire, trying to take out the dogs in the walls for way too freaking long.
Ah! Help me! Help me! Help me! Help me!
Heading to Daniel's and cooking some anti-venoms and recipes, a mole rat, talking to a bird feather lady about Whitebird and a right to passage, and taking a special teams that heightens my senses, quote. I go past the ghost den, and after a few more bears and wops taking out, including a giant she-bear, not to be confused with a sea bear, and use a weapons binding ritual to make Amy's more concentrated with her hammer, the fight with the she-bear went like this.
Like the shadow of a ghost.
I think I'm a bit overpowered. More cave and map exploration and getting killed by waspinators later, I got up to half of the max level in the game, 25, and found a wasp stuck in the wall.
What is this? Program will not respond. Waspinator does not understand.
I finished the first half of the Zion missions, watched Joshua use the Terrifying Presence perk on me.
Yes.
And got up to level 26 to make Amy negate enemy armor with her attacks with the Piercing Strike perk. I got saved by car insurance when taking out a bear as I smashed attack an enemy to the sun. Also, I made the gecko thank me for using their car insurance. Don't question gecko insurance. Jeez, these geckos are huge. Finally, after getting everything done, preventing Chalk from leaving his homeland, resolving the Waking Cloud Daniel exchange, and siding with Godman to take down Salt Upon Woods, I had Amy plead Joshua an act of mercy to prevent a complete path of destruction on his end by sparing the lost-minded tribal leader. And like that, Honest Hearts is over as I got up to level 28 and got the Tunnel Runner perk to make Amy faster in sneaking movement. So finally, I did all the DLCs. Now I can actually do everything else in the main game. Amy's finally going to the Mojave. After making money off the enemies I clobbered and witnessing a few more geckos talk about the 15% gold plan for homeowners and car insurance, I saw a few geckos that'd rather set the world on fire and had to clobber them down before the gecko car insurance group falls to their wrath. I decided to head down a coastline where we find Cottonwood Cove, where a beachhead of a major power of the Mojave, Caesar's Legion, resides. After talking suavely with their lookout guy, I took a notice to their imprisoning of slaves, except according to Canyon Brother, if you speak to him on the matter.
Slaves. Those three in the pen are captures, nothing more.
I'm a slave master, so I know what I'm talking about.
And then having Dr. Amy herself claim a sickness to cut the quote price of them in half, we can get the capture's freedom without causing a fight. Yet. After freeing the trio and listening to herself as a captor speak out,
Oh, it's just awful here. Can't you help us?
I went back to the Aerotech office park to tell Frank you need to sober up after saving his family, whom will take refuge in the old Mormon fort. Next thing I finished was the RepCon facility, where I listened to a grand display of totally not insane genius, telling me everything rocket science, grabbed a few keys, and made my way to get the Brotherhood holotape from the 3rd floor. Then I went for the holotape to Black Mountain by storming through their fortress. The mutants that tried to stop me got bonked, especially the sniper who got home freaking runned and broke an arm mid-air after I applied a weapons-binding ritual on Amy. I got up to level 29, nearly maxing out medicine, see a broken bot, transverse to save a ghoul in need, and having him as a companion, while I finish off the insane Tabitha and her knifekin following a smash attack that bonks her up a roof. Wiping through the meaty centaurs afterwards gets me to the next holotape, of which I gave Poe a smash of the hammer and a passing of the tragic being's life. A friendly mutant would congratulate me on a job well done as I moved on from there. I went to Dr. Blaze to heal my radiation sickness and buy some fiery medicinal goods before I go get the last holotape at the base of the Boomers. Once confronted with them and willing to support them all, I go back to the firing zone while I collected the last holotape and went to give them all to the Brotherhood. I give the heads up to Head Paladin Hardin, however, about all these tapes and how it apparently breaks their code or whatever, so that he can usurp McNamara and become the new Elder. I then asked to join the Brotherhood, of which they gave me a mission to destroy the Van Graffs. Now, why would someone like Amy frickin' Rose want to be in the Brotherhood? Well, remember Apprentice Watkins from the beginning? Because, yeah, just listen to this.
That was so much fun. The wind whipping through our hair, not knowing what was gonna jump out at us at any moment. And when those scorpions came out, it was just like The Sims. All I had to do was line them up and then squeeze the trigger. Don't tell him I told you this, but when those scorpions surrounded us, I'd bet a week's rations he pissed himself.
If I can hear a voice like that in the Brotherhood, then Amy's gonna be a part of it. Heck, maybe she'll even tag along with Veronica in terms of moping about the faction flaws and being kind-hearted friends and all. Oh yeah, and I gave Night Taurus the missing laser gun after diving into Scorpion Gulch to retrieve it. Thank you. Leaving out and going into free sides, I make sure I tell the thugs what happens when you cross with Amy frickin' Rose. As I paid the Atomic Wrangler guy a lot of money to bluff my greatness as I would do the Wrangler questlines. I then went to smash attack the Van Graff guarding the entrance as I finish him off mid-air. God, I love this combo in VATS. Also, I think I remade Heavy is Dead in New Vegas.
Mr. Stormy, please get to the point.
You are dead!
After earning my Brotherhood rank and giving my power armor to the ghoul, I went and bought him better power armor and began collecting whatever armors I can use and find. Not for Amy, mind you, but for everyone else. You see, even though you are only supposed to have 2 companions in the game, one mutant and one robot or dog, New Vegas is fundamentally broken. More on that later. I go ahead to help Julia with her free side dilemmas, told a drug dealer that he should get the hell out, helped rehabilitate some addicts, bought a seemingly innocent toy gun for no reason, asked the other Garrett to start a quest to collect debts.
Interesting. We've got
Yeah, some of these quest lines are a bit of a bore fest. artist, what can you say? Then went to a self-proclaimed king who doesn't even know who Elvis is and ratted out a member of his group for being a scam artist, as I got my money back after giving the dead he shot the Dr. McCoy treatment and found them not dead. Then I finally got to New Vegas. Boy, these summaries of New Vegas runs must take a toll on some people. After failing to run from the TV on reels and wants me to talk to a literal house, I go into the abandoned casino and rent to the penthouse of the house that is led by Mr. House. House jokes aside, this gives me a brand new location to dump all my companions in New Vegas I can host and keep in one room, which is part of what I will call a glitch that I will activate known as the Veronica Friend glitch. Before I would do the glitch later on the run, I went to speak with a Michelangelo, moping about how shelled off he is from the rest of the world, and that I can do the dude a favor and play photojournalist for him. I got to level 30 and got the Fight the Power perk, which is just appropriate for a rebel like Amy.
Greetings, friend.
Well, that's talking behind a computer, Mr. Ambassador. So I went to Prim at level 30 and realized how OP I am when I started to hammer the convicts there. Whacking them effortlessly, I smashed the leader last and saved Dr. Deputy Beagle. I say Doctor because, his voice actor once voiced a... So, yeah, hence the title. So after Deputy Mem told me the Prim needs someone to run, wandering around after that and giving some fishy folk that yell sonic boom of my own boom in the form of knocking down to the dock with a frickin' sea with a smash attack. Now that was a tidal tempest. I took a detour to Boulder City, told everyone that friendship is the best magic, and like that, they resolved their differences. But something about Boulder City was off. No Kowalski. Where is he? Kowalski? Kowalski? Where the heck is that private?
The NCR still lost a bunch of troops in the fighting, though. My older brother sacrificed himself so they could evacuate some of the wounded.
Huh. Usually be skipping to slap me full penguin when I do that. So, no Private Kowalski to speak to in this run. Really? Darn. Maybe he went out to Rico's and went fishing. Maybe. Bewildered by that rare paradox, I went to help the most friendliest mole rat's leg, repaired a generator, and decided to continue ending the scourge of the wasteland abominations by finishing off all the death claws at Quarry Junction. The young one went down with ease. Death claws number 1 and 2 went down while I took a few strikes. I broke the third one's arm and took the other. I blocked the fourth one's strike and tore it down the same. And somehow got the luck to super slam the Death Claw Patriarch and 2 more Death Claws while being nearly dead. Damn, talk about Amy being the alpha. And lastly, slammed the mother with ease while recklessly ending their progeny. If only they were as friendly as Fallout Tactics, would I wish not to have killed them all, but it is what it is. I approached the Great Khan base there and started their quest line, then proceeded to end more Deathclaws along the way. Died a few times, but I eventually got through it all. After more wafts and waiters got swatted, I would get to the Khan's Canyon to help them out by first ratting out their Legion envoy. After an odd inconvenience, I would take down the raider leaders for some bounties I'll eventually get at the Camp McCarran base. I called in one of the rangers because why not, as I went after Violet, leveled up, dumped all the points to make Amy a cunning salesperson. Afterwards, I stormed through Vault 3's outskirts, fooled the Vault 3 raider in the vault that I'm friendly, went back out, and wrecked more raiders and got ahead of the game. I stormed to the Duke's lair, sneak attacked the first raider, which apparently got her laughed at by her own kin. And in a replay, to finish the Duke myself, one of the only times I used Sonic to my aid. After saying knock knock and using Sonic to blow up the remaining mines, I ran straight for the Duke and told him that you are not the real Nukem. Say, do you know Duke Nukem also voiced the big cat? I mean, who knew? I then went after that bastard Cook and didn't even have to take down his cow to end him and his goons. And after I failed to find Driver Nefai, I went to get quests for the Crimson Caravan to just get that out of the way, handing to Camp McCarran, and hey, that's the ranger I called. How you doing? Must be your HQ. And the silent type. I went inside and gave the headwork to the major, whom got me a marker for that fiendish golf club I was trying to find. After doing the Frank West to the McCarran side, I went away to Driver's base. Sonic came out at the wrong time, but no matter, with a lot of aggression and sneaky tactics, Amy would take out all the buffoons before confronting the golfing clubber and prove why Hammer is better than Club. At least this will help me swing better. After declaring Amy Jesus, I rushed back into the camp, took in the last head, and started reorganizing the camp by first running the hell to the monorail to stop the bomb there from being used, and took the evidence to send Curtis into custody. Then I started a search for the remaining companions in New Vegas. I ran up to Miss Rose of Sharon Cassidy, and after somehow psychically knew who I finished off the Van Graffs, probably because she's a Rose like Amy, I took in Eddie Omega as well, triggering him after a conversation with an old lady, slept in a bunker for a few days, chatted with myself on what the Brotherhood is, which triggered the second Eddie trigger, and eventually I had him fixed by Lorenzo and be given a clean refinement back in prep. Then I shunned them for what I did at Red Rock. No matter. After proving that foxes can indeed fly once I give the Legion a taste of Red Rose, I cleared the ants for the Mojave outpost and began to just find whatever I could do to level up Amy as much as I could till the end. After some Rat, Scorpion, and Feral Brood takedowns, Amy leveled up to 32, dumped Sneak as the next skill to get all the way up, and went for the... Expect a lot less mercy if you cross this thorns from now on. I think I had an alter ego attack. Now, you won't believe this, but after everything I did in this point of the game, I went to Goodsprings to complete the game's tutorial at level 32. Better late than never. Since melee weapons won't work on the bottles, I opted to call in Sonic once again to come in clutch for Amy in this moment. Then I was told to kill the geckos. Don't tell the car insurance company this, especially since I saved a settler from them trying to kill her for not accepting their insurance. Damn jerks. At least it wasn't life insurance. Eventually, I sided with the townsfolk by supporting Rango, Trotty, Chet, of which I spent 1,000 caps on.
To take on the Powder Gangers. That's 1,000 cap investment you're talking about. That's more like it.
And Doc Mitchell for additional healing supplies. Yeah, I'll just skip to the front to show how OP Amy is to what are supposed to be the first challenging enemies in the game. Powder Gangers, you know? This is what happened. Also, I'm beginning to question if Bloody Mess is either too unfitting or too fitting for someone as kind as headstrong as her. After the easiest Pete gave his good word on the matter, I began to rush several missions at this point of the game. I did the Helios 1 mission by diverging the power to everybody, then I went to finish the Boomer's questline. Nothing too eventful here, barring the ants misbehaving, solar malfunctions, flirting with a guy who I helped find his girl in life. At least I helped someone with a relationship. saving all the medicinal patients' needs and using Amy's high charisma to keep the kids happy and lively.
Wow. You sound awesome.
As well as listening to one kid's history lesson and trying to find another one's teddy bear. And yes, I did use the Boomer Sonic emitter to make the ant's mind gotta go fast and boom. I took a detour to begin the Hard Luck Blues quest and decided to venture into Vault 34 after the geckos there once told me about what golden card premiums are. The less said about Vault 34's infamous tracking, the better. Just know I got to the Vault Armory, rerouted the water to the Vault Dwellers, had one of the last ghouls smashed into the air, to the water, and another smashed to the ceiling and brought back down. I'm beginning to realize this spinning hammer attack is a lot like the attack she does in Rise of Lyric. Don't ask me how I remembered playing that game. After leaving the vault and the geckos trying to convince me to do their golden life insurance plan, I rushed the Camp Gulp Misfit quest, gained more experience by smashing more abominations, saved the Camp Guardian soldier from the Aquaman imposters, gave Arcade some better weapons, did the Bitter Spring medical missions which got me to level 34, and the Action Girl perch, convinced the rogue Khan to stop his violence and go to his tribe in peace, and I told Loyal I got the bomber ready for him, swaying the bombers to my name. Oh, and I gave the teddy bear Mr. Cuddles to Lindsley. You're welcome. I went back to McCarran to get the Vault 22 mission, then I decided I could help Boyd.
You stick out like a sore thumb around here. You sure you're in the right place?
Yeah, she's also voiced by Cindy, but she does many voices that is not in her Amy-esque voice. Anyway, to talk sense out of a captured Legion soldier. Oh, going into a quick save where I don't kill him. I helped Boyd's needs, helped avenge a wife's fallen husband, recruited Cassie Rose after sending Arcade to the 38, helped the Khans need and convinced them to move out of the Mojave, did their last shipment to the Fiends, which made me go ahead and finish them all off after I gave Motor Running a lawn mowing slam. I helped the super mutants at Jacobstown with their stealth droid problems, and heard the most realistic reaction from someone hearing that Amy would kick their ass if they don't stop escalating their violence.
I've always known when to fight and when to back down. My men and I are leaving.
After recruiting Grandma Lily, I went to help Novak against a heavy weapons Nightkin spy, who got smashed attacked by the hammer, while invisible, and taken down into the dark.
Oh no! Oh no!
I went to help Boone after finding the evidence of his wife's capture, and made him my new companion after sending Grandma to the casino. After giving Melissa the goods from Tyrone, it's time for more Deathclaw smackdowns. After giving one a ballerina pose of death and another a smack on the butt, I went to the Gunrunners Vendors to make Boone the ultimate sniper with a crap ton of anti-material ammo rounds and gun. After testing it on a Deathclaw, yeah, Boone materialized it. More Deathclaw kill montages later and a drink of Russian water later, I speed ran through a bunch of Legion assassins with deadly precision. Another round of Snake Dog's chill session later, I did the unthinkable and decided to fight through Deathwind Cavern, or as I like to call it, Deathclaw Land. Yes, Deathclaw Land. Welcome to Deathclaw Land. Yeah. Deathclaw Land had me die a couple times of freaking course, being the hardest place in the game to not die in the base game of New Vegas. After managing to get through the mosh pit and utterly destroy the Mother, I had to face the Patriarch of the pack, the legendary Deathclaw. After dying again and again, I took down this deadly boss. Also, I've been collecting power armors along the way for my companions, so when I get to the 38, there's gonna be a lot of metal. A lot of metal there. Metal. Metal. After leaving the whole area free of the deadly claws, I told Farkas the good news about the addicts, leaving me idolized by the followers. I would then send a pack of ghouls to outer space, and don't worry, even though I forgot to record the footage, I did save Antler and his nightly friends, minus the jailkeeper. I then barehanded a Legion veteran to death as I did the recon to Ranger Station Tarling, and told Andy the bad news, which increased my reputation in Novak to idolized. No, seriously, I took down that freaking veteran like a Mortal Kombat game. Like, jeez. Don't mess with the pros. Then finally, after sending most of my companions in New Vegas to the Lucky 38, I begin to activate the Gatekeeper to the Veronica glitch. You see, in at least 3 specific zones you have to walk with her throughout the Mojave. She'll say something about the Brotherhood failing to adapt to its environment while everyone else is living lively or whatever. Once these triggers are passed, she will ask you if you want to discuss something with her. Say no until you go to the Lucky 38 with her. After I gave her some Brotherhood Repcon base and getting a late message on my actions involving Ranger Ross inside the center.
Oh my god, are you okay?
Okay. I activated a trigger at Camp McCarran as I gave Motor Runner Skull to Sue, making the NCR idolize me. New California Amy. Like that's ever gonna happen. I also mentioned Private Christina, the deed I did, and mentioned the most wholesome thing to Amy in the game.
You're too good for this rotten town.
Some NCR gunrunner currying later, I go inside the Thorn and embrace my inner jungle self as I am challenged to face all the creatures of the wasteland and gather their eggs for glory and honorary breathing. Or would that be her inner pirate? I decide to then storm into the NCR's giant prison and give all the powder gangers there a taste of fist and hammers as I leveled up to 36 and got the paralyzing palm curve. In other words, Amy's punches can induce a state of shock to her enemies, which is sensible when you consider how a good spin dash can definitely leave one feeling shocked from an attack. After seeing the most pathetic way to die from Carter getting paralyzed, then blown by his own foe's dynamite and getting heel stomped to the frickin' neck, ouch, I go to Myers, as I was gonna help with him become Prim Sheriff with an NCR pardon from the outpost. This happened.
Hey, it's you again.
The thief from the bottle cap duel around Nipton went to the Mojave outpost, and knowing what she did to that poor guy, I had to do what I must do. Then after that, I helped Myers become Prim Sheriff, then I collected her debts from a ghoul that's seen better days, went to find a cave where someone left their caravan, at which I decided to disrespect the bandit legionary so much I made a clip about it. Come on. Then I found the cave with the caps and a bunch of rats, of which I asked like a kind cat, can I have the caps? And the rat said, yes. Man, everybody should be an animal friend. I then give Santiago a job, unlike a certain blue hedgehog, made a complete Bruge out of a ghoul, prevented a metal robot from doing it with Amy, prevented NCR and King tensions from souring too much by sweet-talking the King, Marcus, Kernian, and stopping that jet-up bird Pacer from further contributing to escalations. I also played courier to a medical alcohol exchange between the Garretts and followers as a side order while finishing the quest Line of the Kings, helping me be idolized by Freeside. After getting racked to the mind of an old sheepdog from Old Lady Gibson to help him feel more refreshed, I settled more scores in New Vegas proper and gave Michelangelo the pictures he needed, which bumped me up to level 37. I then went to Vault 11, beat the robots and mantises there, took their vault suits, went to Vault 34 and 3 to take their vault suits, bought a hat to declare someone dead, went to the top to begin sending out auditions to their entertainment wing, and gave Vault 21 Sarah the jumpsuits to increase my New Vegas reputation, one at a time. Because sending them all in one go apparently counts as one reputation increase and not multiple. Damn New Vegas. Also, F. Cazadors. Also, I performed a Mortal Kombat brutality and fatality on this freaking Death Claw. After convincing the Vault 19 powder gangers to attempt to leave the Raceland with the Great Khans, I did all the Top's recruiting missions, and I swear those Legion assassins are gonna make Amy crazy. Though speaking of crazy, crazy Amy.
Come on. I just can't stop. Keep provoking me.
Anyway, speaking of crazy, it's time to fully embrace Amy's best unarmed weapon that she'll be using, one that I think perfectly matches and mimics her spin dash. Pushy. After testing Pushy's ability on a lake lurker and testing out the Mark II sweep kick, I took another trip to Deathclaw Land and got out to be level 38, nearly maxing sweet, and seeing how a real-life spin dash can pulverize an enemy to the ground. Saving a couple gangers from the Legion trying to enslave them, my reputation with them grew to be a merciful thug. How quaint. After doing all the Vault 22 missions and saved Kelly, even allowing her to remove the data of this accursed vault to never be heard from again, I finished the King's Gambit with the NCR, and at this point, something extremely odd happened. An MP guy tried to kill me for, quote, screwing with the NCR despite my high reputation, and to avert chaos, I used a stealth boy. Now, you may be wondering, Amy using a stealth boy doesn't sound like something she would do, right? Except... in Sonic 06... one of her unique abilities, the little you play as her in the final zone, is actually to turn invisible. I think I used Sonic 06 in relevance for this challenge. After seeing the most pathetic Thorn encounter I've ever seen, performing a spin dash more destructive than Mortal Kombat 11's version of it.
After I deal with you. Found you!
And having an actual hammer duel with one Legion assassin, not much else happened barring the seldomly found cute dogmate. More car insurance found on a canyon later, in addition to several nuclear ghouls, reinforced vertebrate robots, and many, many raiders. I did this Camp Searchlight missions, saw a gecko into the wall, and another cutely swimming trying to promote boat insurance, and took down some geckos that don't know how fire insurance works. Had just enough lockpick skill with a magazine to flood Connorwood Cove's Legion with a strange reaction. Everybody there but a few of them died, and the few that aren't dead are just... I think I might have unintentionally made Children of the Atom with them, just accepting the town's fate and persisting. After defeating the nearby sea creatures, I got the Travel Light perk way too late at level 40, and gave Searchlight a tip on the bug I planted there, and that the Toxic Barrel set there is a fitting revenge for Searchlight's fate. At this point, do I finally activate the Veronica glitch at the Lucky 38, and form the Wasteland version of Team Rose. While some changes to the weapons may have been made to the roster, I don't have to explain why a bunch of power-armored companions with high-tier weapons I granted them makes even the Deathclaw Promontory a joke to take out. After proving the Deathclaws that Team Rose is in fact unbeatable, I would use gold bar after gold bar, gaining tens of thousands of caps from vendors just to repair the tens of thousands of caps worth of power armor, ammo, and weapons for my companions. The armory alone being worth tens of thousands is something that I'd never do without the dead money gold. After giving the legendary Cazador the true meaning of team-based pain, I look proudly at my team as we venture off to create a Meet the Team skit with another round of assassins. Went to then raid the arson company, took a leisurely trip to the dam, asked the Night Stalkers for their eggs and they said okay, raided the Cazador nest, would eventually help a punk join the followers, went to Deathclaw Land again to begin taking them down as a pack and even sneak killing a few. By the time Team Rose found the Mother Deathclaw, it was literally second I showed the Deathclaws what would be of them after slamming the Mother's corpse. Tearing down their train yard after, visiting the Golden Gecko insurance guys and something Sergeant Dornan.
You are out of uniform, soldier! Where is your power armor?
I decided to do Rosie's special quest as we examined Caravan Ravines and blew the plants of Alice for being a complete ripoff with her company not even caring apparently. What? That's something Rosie would do. I made a commotion at the gun runners, did some adventuring, had Rex chase after a Doghead Legion, whom I pummeled so hard I got to level 42, getting the second level of the Action Girl perk. I would also finish up the NCR missions at Bitter Springs, Forlong Hope, and elsewhere, as I have Raoul recite memories of his tragic past.
Girl, you are some grade A poon. Anybody ever tell you that?
Oh, and here's another character Cindy has played in New Vegas. Boone reminds me the Legion sucks, made sure Dead Sea is dead. Finished off the Legion at Nelson and Teka Mine? As I did the Return to Sender mission, and eventually told Chief Hanlon his secret is safe with me. I did favors for Westside, helped a family from splitting apart, and had Contreras confiscated for his illicit actions. And good freaking gosh of grief, I'm on page 15 of the script. Look, I promised this would be over shortly. Let me cook. Let Amy cook. After getting into a cave to give Veronica a weapon that's a literal toaster in the name, and getting the best Gauss rifle for Arcade from a pack of hostile mercenaries, played around with Win Brahmin without having to pay the toll because I gave all my money to Arcade temporarily, saw Raoul embrace his inner vaquero just to remind him power armor's a lot more durable than that, and gave Tommy all his axe and my share of the profit, ranking me up to level 44, somehow making Amy a lock-picking trickster like a bat and a near-scientific genius like a fox. Oh, and I got the quick draw perk. Since I am finally gonna advance the main storyline, I might as well say that for the ending that I'm gonna go with Amy in this game, Yes Man is the run I would be going for the ending in New Vegas, because it's the most flexible and argument most friendly ending for Amy to curb with the NCR and Brotherhood for her character. As much as it would be something to either sway Benny or outright end him here and now, I naively let him go and get ambushed by some of his chairmen, since Amy is not going to outright end him here and now. I try to get to Cottonwood Cove without Volpez showing his smug face to get to the raft, but apparently you need to talk to him as I couldn't get on the raft before getting the mark. Damn it. Therefore, I proceeded to take his mark and playered around the way. Boone, being Boone, would alert everybody to kill the Legion Traveler at the Cove, with Arcade getting the shot first. Boone contemplates that this mission is suicide, but given Team Rose's capabilities, no. I assure him we got this, and each other's shining hope. Also, for some reason, these parts of the recordings had the audio raw footage jacked up to sound like demonic overtones, but, well, oh well. After giving everyone hammers, to then hammer their way to Caesar's tent and grave,
Retribution.
I got the chip, gave it a house, activated the army of robots, saved a guy from a literal bunch of cannibals, saved a potential couple from being thief zoned, got disgusted at a bunch of Ometa thugs' trickery, but otherwise the most damage I did there was let one finish off the others. Oh, should I mention when any casino tries to strip you of your weapons, it's not done to any companion you have? Went to Deathclaw Land to freaking give the mother a most embarrassing finish move with a dash stomp. Made one fly with a smash attack, gained more experience from smacking down Cazadors, talked to the local gecko for advice, and mastered all skills that are not ranged weapons for Amy, and learned many lessons. Many respawn camping later, I get to house, who tells me to kill the Brotherhood, of which I said no. I then deactivate his cerebral and went on with, oh yeah, Arcade would give you his mission to bring the Enclave remnants back together to help fight at Hoover Dam. Arcade, we got a little team of metal here, so, we don't need one more guy, okay? And besides, if you finish his quest, he'll stop being a companion, and I just didn't want that to happen. After witnessing the President's speech and thwarting all means to kill him by the Legion, I proceeded to sneak into the substation, insert the override chip, all before I got reminded not to be in the control room by the NCR. Okay, of course Amy wouldn't do something like that. She wouldn't lie, right? After finishing up Boone's special quest and telling him he can forge a better path from his troubled past, I take one last trip to the bunker after the Legion's slaughter, evoke my greetings to Apprentice Amy, and finally swayed the followers to help the NCR during the second battle of Hoover Dam, meaning it's time to enter to the final zone of New Vegas. Which, like the final zone of Sonic 1, pretty much an anticlimax. It ended up being extremely easy with Team Rose on my side and the Securitron army being activated. With that said, however, after storming through the Legged Camp's last line of defense, I halted all my companions of Team Rose to stand down as I wanted Amy to face down the Scourge that is Lanius one-on-one. Also, I had to take down the TB that was trying to help me. Sorry, AI man, but now it's time to face the Scourge that is Lanius. Bluffing a one-on-one with the Terror of each, I decided to give Scourge a few spin dashes in advance that brutally incapacitated him to the floor below as Amy drew the last time she'll ever use her hammer to give the final blow. That's more disrespectful than a simple hammer duel. Going to Team Rose on a job well done, I can say that yes, you can... yeah, the General. After a quick conversation to refer to him that an independent Vegas led by the one and only Amy Rose is the best outcome for us all, he stands down his weapons, and I can now say that yes, you can indeed beat Fallout New Vegas as Amy Rose.
We're pulling out. Got leveled by a goddamn Hedgehog.
Wow, this took a lot longer than I would have expected to record, edit, and release. This is my first time doing a New Vegas run, and is also my first commentary. I'm editing a video this long for the first time, so I'd love to hear your comments below on what I can do next. Royal out.